Hello, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's been a while since the last episode, and I'm very sorry for that. But we're back now, and today we're going to talk about functions. So, without any further ado, we're just going to jump right in. And I have to say, we have been working with a function all the time because in C++, you cannot place open code like code anywhere. You always have to place it in a function. There is something called macros, but we're not going to talk about that. You cannot place code in like anywhere else than in the function in C++. So if you look at this, a absolutely valid C++ command, which just prints the word text and a new line to the console, it gives an error here. As soon as I move that into here, it's fine. If we run this, we get output text. So for today's episode, I wrote up some notes, and I'm going to go along those notes during the episode. And first, I want to talk about like what a function is. It's pretty much just a piece of code which you can give a name, and you can call this piece of code by this name you gave it. So if we look at this function template, or let's say like general structure of a function here, it consists of four things, which is like the first one is the return type, second one is the name, then you have the parameter list, and then you have the body, which is enclosed in curly brackets. And this combination of the return type, the name, and the parameter list is also called the function signature. Functions have to be uniquely identifiable by their signature. Like, what does that mean? We'll see that in a minute. I'm just going to write a function now, and then I'm going to go through all the different parts and explain what they are doing and what they mean. So I'm going to write a function which has a return type of void, which means it doesn't return anything. And I'm going to call it print, because we're going to print something to the console with this function. So you can see that structure here again. That's the return type, the name. Then we have the parameter list, which is empty here, so we don't have parameters for this function. And then you have the body, which is empty as well. And as it is, and since the function is called print, it should print something as well. And we're just going to print from print, and then function, which shows that this is a function here. Well, it's just a text, but it's easier for us to understand where the print is coming from. Let's just run this now, and we will only get one print statement. Okay, we don't get anything. There seems to be a little bug here. We have to close this and then open it again, and we see text here now. Why is that? Because we didn't call the function yet. If we call this function by its name, print, just like this, we will see this print in the console. Yeah. Print from print. So this print function is not very helpful. It has a static text and it doesn't do anything. So we're just going to write a second function, and we're going to rename print to print static text. Change the name down here. Then we're going to duplicate this and call this print dynamic text. And we are going to add a parameter here, which is called message. And then we're just going to print this message to the console. And we're also going to print a new line. Okay. And we also have to call the function print dynamic text, and we're just going to give it, let's say, our custom message. Okay. And if we run this, then we can see text, which is printed in main function, and then print from static text and our custom message. I'm going to change that here so this makes a bit more sense. Now, there is a way of like having several functions with different with the same name, but different parameter lists or different return types. And that's called function overloading. But I'm not going to go into that in this episode because this is only meant as a real simple introduction into functions. But I want to say something about the name. It's hard to say generally which characters are allowed. Usually people use alphanumeric characters in lower and uppercase and the underscore. That's what I'm doing as well. As far as I know, in C++, you can only have the underscore. I'm not sure. Maybe there are some compiler specific characters you can use. But I would suggest in general that you should only use lower uppercase alphanumeric characters and the underscore. And one more word to the parameter list. Of course, functions can have like several parameters. We could have like a print multiple parameters function, and that one gets let's say like two numbers, int number 1 and int number 2, that comma goes. And now we just print those. We print this and then a white space and the other number. And let's print a message here as well. You gave the following numbers, number 1 space number 2. And if we run this one, we should get that print as well. There were build errors, okay. Too few arguments. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's just say 5 and 6. You gave the following numbers, 5 and 6. And yeah, we're almost through already. We only have the return type left, or like actually returning something from a function, because for now we only had like no return values. So let's make another function which returns an integer value and say return or give me an int. And we could be like really cool now and just give a random number back, but we're just gonna return whatever, classic 666. So give me an int returns the number 666 now. The question is, how do we retrieve this number? How do we save it? Well, how do we save values in general in a variable? So let's just make like an int variable called value. Just going to make a new line here, and this one will save the value which is returned by give me an int. That is the 6. And if we print this, and we can just print, let's just print it like in this main function. What is this? Value from give me an int, and then we print the value and a new line, and that looks all right. There is that semicolon was missing, and we should see a new print now which says value from give me an int, and then it should say 666. And value from give me an int is 666. And yeah, I guess that's it already. Let's go through those notes I made to check if I forgot something. So we have been working with the function all the time. Main function. Function is a piece of code that is given a name by you, the programmer, and you call it by that name. They consist of a return type, a name, a parameter list, and a body. The return type, name, and parameter list also are called a signature. There is something called function overloading. As I said before, I'm going to talk about this in one of the next episodes. Then we talked about the name and naming. We talked about the parameter list, no parameters, one parameter, multiple parameters. We talked about the return type, we had void, and we had an integer return type, and that's it. So thank you for watching, and I will make more episodes in the future. The break was long, but yeah, I'm back, and I will expand this playlist quite a bit. So again, thanks for watching. We are going to talk about arithmetic and logical operators next week or in the next episode. And until then, I wish you a nice time. See you later, and bye bye.